Sorry, just laughing at that last picture. That's be a little goofy. All right. Understand that the logo, the intro video are all just a beta version of what it is that's going to be coming up with the Andy Falco TV show. It's going to be so good. This is all new. I'm trying to take this into a whole new direction. And what I wanted to come on right now is to tell you about the show I'm going to do tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And what I'm looking for is some brave souls to come on with me tomorrow. I may find nobody because I know the controversial subjects that I talk about. Already, somebody already wants to come on. Awesome. I love it. And so what I'll end up doing, hey, David, nice to see you, is what I'll do is I'll provide a link once I go live that will allow you to get into the green room. And when I bring you up, if you're a troll, I'll knock you off right away and you'll be gone. But if you have some really good thoughts and information about what you think about this shutdown, because I'm going to be bringing in some stats. There is no reason why we need to continue to be in the shutdown. There really is no reason for us to be into the shut. That is the craziest stuff. As I do more and more research, I spent much of the day going through a whole bunch of stuff, right? I even got an article from the New York Post. Now, it's so funny because there are times where I get things from the New York Times and New York Post, and who else? CNN even, and I think it was maybe even from time to time MSNBC. That I don't know if they intentionally put it on there to at least try to look like they're unbiased, but on occasion there's some stuff on there and say, hey, I got to show you this because this really points to a reason why we shouldn't even be here. We've not done this before. We didn't do it for another pandemic that happened during the 60s, during Vietnam era. That there was a pandemic that was killing people. It was killing everybody, not just elderly, right? And we're going to talk about this. We've seemed to have received misguided information, but in the beginning, I really did have a problem with the first 14-day shutdown. Let's shut it down for 14 days, try to figure crap out. And I saw a friend of mine post something and said, back in March, Trump said this, and he was totally wrong. No shit, everybody was wrong because we didn't know what was happening. You know what? What? I don't agree with everything that Trump does anyway. I mean, a lot of stuff I think is fantastic. I think he's amazing. And of course, he took action. Of course, he's done nothing but work every day. The BS that they're telling you that he's done nothing since this thing started is totally crazy. However, to come back today and say, hey, what he said in January, February, and March is totally wrong today. Yes. What everybody was saying back in January, February, March was totally wrong. But you can't come now today and say, oh, what an idiot that he said this and then, and now it's totally something different. It's just really ridiculous. It's gone beyond ridiculous that we are still sitting here in our stupid houses. I love my house, by the way, and I love my kids, but in our stupid houses, picking our nose. I have not earned an income in 3 months. All right. I've not got a stimulus check, and I have not been approved on my PPP that I've applied for on 3 different occasions. I've submitted all the information. I've even submitted more information than I think they even needed, and still crickets. I've heard nothing. So I'm not making a dime, right? But I don't think we should pass that new $3 trillion bill that Nancy Pelosi put through. As desperate as I am to make an income, no. Because it really doesn't help Americans, right? It truly is not for Americans. It's for a number of the liberal interest groups and for illegal immigrants as well, and prisoners and a whole bunch of other bullshit people. All right, so I know that I'm cussing a little bit more, but I'm just really excited about my show tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And so I would like to have a couple people come on that are brave enough to come on. And again, you can have the opposition too. I don't mind. You'll be kicked off only if you're a jerk. Right. Like, for instance, a friend of mine, James, I don't even know if I want to tell his name, but anyway, he reposted one of my posts from earlier in the week. And some guy came on and said, are these your people? And he posted a video, and he just went on. And James is smart enough, right? He says, dude, I know what you're doing. I'm not going to respond to the ridiculousness of your video, pointing out some stupid stuff. It's stupid. And really, I didn't find it that offensive myself. I wish I could go into more detail, but it's just not. And so then the guy goes, "Oh yeah, well, you're an idiot," or whatever he said. And that's always the response, right? Whenever you have an opposing opinion, you're a jerk. Trump said to inject dog urine. I like to say that because it's just as ridiculous as saying that he said to inject Lysol or inject bleach. He said none of that. So you might as well have said he told you to inject dog urine. So I will continue to use that because he said none of those three things, right? And so that's always the response. There's no, they have no, good argument or good response. It always turns into, "Oh yeah, well, you're a jerk and your mother was combat boots," and all that kind of stuff. And so, hey, April, nice to see you. And I love that every time it pops up. I love that picture with you with your hair cover thing. I know there's probably a name for that, but I don't know what it's called. Your wig cover. So tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'll be doing a show on why is there still this shutdown? Why is it still in existence? Remember, it was only going to be 14 days. One of the things I don't agree with President Trump, is that he has Dr. Fauci still on the team that's making decisions on all this stuff, based on what I've learned over a period of time. And I didn't jump on the bandwagon early on. I know people say, "Well, where have you been? You should have not liked Fauci from the beginning." Well, I because that's not necessarily what I do. I see things. I didn't get a great feeling. Like, I don't know. Let me find out who this guy is. Start studying him, researching, start getting more videos, start watching more videos on, his history, all the way back into the 80s. And I think beyond that, as far as has to do with vaccinations and, decisions he made about moving the research on the virus that's now killing us to China and actually funding it, and all the other things that are starting to come out, right? That these things kind of trickle out in the beginning. And sometimes, you got to look at them, because you don't know if it's propaganda. You don't know if it's somebody that just has a chip on their shoulder because they got fired from them or something like that. You really got it. You can't just simply, I don't think you can't just jump in and say, "Yeah, he's a jerk," right? Which is the response from the others that, that have no argument. And so I just would like for a few people to come on tomorrow. Again, you can be totally for, going back to work and putting kids back into school, which we should, and closing maybe a few nursing facilities and senior facilities and that kind of stuff, and really looking at what it is we're doing there. After all, we moved these huge floating medical ships to the blue state of New York, the blue state of California, and they virtually went unused. New York maybe used a couple of beds in there. I think it was 78 beds, 79 beds, something like that. And yet they had like 1,000 right on the ship. And instead of putting the elderly that had COVID-19 into the ships, once they said that these are COVID-19 locations, or into the other locations, they put it back in the nursing home. That may have been one of the dumbest moves that I've ever heard in my entire life. Why, if you know that the most vulnerable, where a third of the people that die are the elderly that have pre-existing conditions that, that will lead to death if they get COVID-19, then why would you move somebody that has COVID-19 into a location where all those people are, where you don't have the same medical resources that you do in a floating hospital, that you do in a hospital that's geared up to accept COVID-19? Why? Right? But we keep those open. We keep doing that, but we close all the schools where we virtually have no deaths in our schools. Well, if the kids could get it and bring it home. Well, show me where anywhere where it shows that. Show me anywhere where it shows that a child caught COVID-19 in a school and brought it home to their elderly grandma who they visited the next weekend. Show me where that has happened, because I've so far I've searched for evidence of that happening and I have not seen it. Well, we did it early and we closed the schools. That's why you don't see it. Okay. All right. And so we have all these arguments. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. And I do believe that California is going to go red. Thank you, April, for putting that and putting that on here. I know my friends think I'm crazy because I have finally decided, I kind of let little things trickle out here and there about my position on the way things are. But I'm full in because I'm so angry. I'm so angry that I've been put out of work for 3 months. I have 5 children. 4 of them are in elementary school and 1 in junior high, or 3 in elementary school, 1 in junior high. And they've put me in a very difficult financial situation because there's something more going on in regard to this shutdown. It has nothing to do with the COVID-19. Nothing. They're using the COVID-19 as an excuse, but it has nothing to do with science, with logic, with common sense, with what's been going on. And tomorrow I want to discuss that at 11 a.m. in the morning. So anybody that wants to come on is more than welcome to come on and talk about those things. And hey, thanks for referring somebody. Vince August, I'm assuming, is a friend of yours, or it's code for you agree with me. One of those two. I didn't like him from the beginning. Bill Gates. Yeah. You know what? This thing with Bill Gates, I was kind of that. I'm totally shocked. And I watch the news. I pay attention to documentaries. I watch Pandemic. I watch all these things. And then all this information that's beginning to come out about Bill Gates, I got to tell you, caught me by surprise. Like I thought, these people are crazy. They're talking about Bill Gates. I have a friend of mine named Heather Heavens. Heather Heavens does a show. It almost seems like every day. She had to move it from her private page or from her personal page into a group, but has had some early on theories weeks ago. She, as far as my friends are concerned, was way ahead of the curve. I got to give her credit because watching her really opened my eyes to what it is that is probably leading to the reasons why we are still dealing with the shutdown, why all the blue states have decided that at least until now they've moved it. So now we're going to talk about more in detail as this goes on, that, it was 14 days. All right. 14 days passed. And now it was about the curve, right? The next thing was the curve. And then the curve started coming down, and then, okay, forget the curve. Cause they thought maybe the curve might not go down, that fast, but the curve went down faster than they thought. So they go, okay, shoot, the curve is flattening and it's going down. We need testing. We need more testing. And so they go, he'll never be able to get enough testing, right? Trump will never be able to get enough. Well, Trump, he's doubled the testing that anybody else has done by far, is what he says. And he has, and I'll show you the statistics tomorrow, that it literally has a huge amount of testing. So what happens with testing? The testing shows more people have it, and they'll see, there's a spike that more people have it. No, we're doing more testing, you nimrods. It doesn't. The same people have had it before. We're just discovering more people that have it, and we're discovering that when more people have it, and now you compare that to the number that's died, and it's now even greater, the distance between the number of people that have it and the number of people that have died. That it's less deadly than we thought before, not more deadly. When you do testing and find out that more people have it, but the death rate stays at this level, and this is why they're counting people that die of cancer. But they just so happens when they died of cancer, they also had COVID-19. That's why they're counting them, so they can increase the deaths based on COVID-19. Listen, I've heard lots of doctors, not just one doctor, not just 2 doctors, but several doctors that I've either watched and not put up because I'm afraid it's going to shut down my Facebook page because of all the censorship that's going on, which is the second thing. No, it may be the first thing. I can't think. It may be the first thing, maybe the second thing. The censorship pisses me off more than anything else. Don't pull down these videos just because they have a alternate opinion to what your side, I guess that's the best way to put it, right? That your side is saying, just because it doesn't meet what it is you want to hear. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whoever's putting Twitter. Oh God, Twitter. That doesn't meet our standard. What stand? Your standard? your belief system. Because it doesn't promote what the liberals want you to believe. The liberal media wants you to believe, because it doesn't fall in line with that. Now you pull it down, which is total BS. You got to be freaking kidding me. So tomorrow we're going to have this discussion. I'm having a beer. It's an evening show. So on my evening shows, as you will soon learn, they are drinking shows, no matter what. Anything after, what time is it? Anything after 6 o'clock is a drinking show, and you're all allowed to have beer on me. So 11 o'clock, we'll be going into more detail. I have graphs. I have other stuff that I have. I have an article that I want to make sure and address. Oh, sorry, I already put that one up, April. I love that. I love when people are very active in responding and putting comments on there. So if you're watching, because I see lots of people are watching, and actually the numbers are going up, make sure and respond. And I didn't really mean to get into all the detail of what we're going to be talking tomorrow, because we will be talking about that more tomorrow. And I would love to have a couple people that are brave enough to come on and just give your opinion. Like, what is it? This really is a question. The question for tomorrow, which is already up, you can see it on my personal page and on the COVID-19 page on YouTube and Twitter and on Twitch, that tomorrow we're going to be talking about what is really behind the closing of the United States. Why are we still closed in many states? And why are we fighting to open back up? Why are so many people fighting to open it up? You know, what I love was sometimes when you see the reporters in the White House or out on the lawn, and they say something like that, the reporter will come on and say, Americans are worried about going back to work. What do you say about that? And I go, what Americans are you talking about? There's like 5 to every 100 that are worried about opening back up. Really, literally, right? There's like 5 that are worried to every 100 who wants to go back to work, wants to open up back to schools, wants to go back to going to the beach, wants to go back to going to the river, hanging out with people in Las Vegas and gambling, right? There's more of those people. How dare you stand up there in front of the president or whoever you're questioning and say, Americans are worried about going back, that you haven't done enough, that you're not wearing a mask, that you said that you're taking the Harlequin, Quoxaquin. What is that called? I just gave it up. I gave it a name. He said today that he's taking that medicine that we all hate because people are dying when they take it. Really, really, do you think the president of the United States, with the doctors that he has surrounding them, the people that are tasked with keeping him alive and keeping him safe to make sure he doesn't get sick, a guy who doesn't drink alcohol, cheers to you, President Trump, a guy who doesn't like take alcohol and has never taken a drug and is a germaphobe, do you really think with all the information, all the people that are surrounding him, that he's going to take a drug just willy-nilly? Hey, give me that drug and I'm going to take it. I'm going to see if it makes me feel better, without a bunch of information that he has that we don't have necessarily. There's things I'm sure that he has, along with the Flynn information, along with the Steele dossier, what was happening with the FBI, the CIA, all the information. Can you imagine? We know this. Don't be stupid, you idiots. So sorry, I'm all fired up. I've been sitting here studying all this stuff. Don't be so stupid that you think that he just willy-nilly goes after and goes after certain things and says, you know what, I'm going to try this and I'm going to put it in my mouth and take it and see if it makes me feel better. Really? If that's what you think, you're stupider than I thought. You're that guy. Oops, I left your comment up here for a really long time. Sorry, April. California Go Red, hashtag California Go Red. Yes, and Didi. We already did that one. Let's see what Ma has to say. Well, not substantiated, but a friend of mine who is from DC said Pelosi is threatening to bribing some of these Dem governors to keep their states closed as long as possible, hoping to collapse the economy so Trump looks bad. Not trying to throw conspiracy theories, just wanted to share that what I heard. Ma, you may have a crystal ball as to what it is that part of my show will be about, because this is one of the things that there's no doubt in my mind. You know, when you think about what the FBI, the DOJ, the CIA, Obama, and what's the other guy's name? The guy's running for president, Joe Biden, that they went in the Oval Office and just said, "Hey, how you guys doing? You know, anything new? I know that we just lost the election, and nobody. Oh, there's something about Flynn. Oh, you think he might be? You think they just had this casual conversation?" Instead, as I said on my show the other day, that went an hour and a half, and I'm so sorry that it went so long, because I know people probably tuned out before I got to the end of that thing. But an hour and a half on this discussion about, come on, really, you really think that they came into the White House and all these people that we've seen in many aspects of this investigation, in Congress hearings, on the court case, that we're seeing in texting, that people have said it's coming from the White House or it's coming from the 7th floor, all this stuff. You think all those people got together on that day just to talk about the weather and not talk about how they were going to take down the Trump administration? And so, Ma, back to your comment, it is not far-fetched. It is not a theory that Pelosi, Schumer, what's the pencil neck guy? What's his name? Pencil neck. He's out of California. Pencil neck Schiff. Adam Schiff. Who else? Shamwell, whatever that guy's name. Swalwell. Do you not think that they don't have, bat phones where they call That's the lunatic, the Lightfoot lunatic in Chicago. What a lunatic, right? Who's the guy in New Jersey? The stupid Newsom. All these people. You don't think they have a, okay, listen, this is what we're going to do. And they're not smart enough to understand that at some point, I have a bunch of Twitter posts. They call them posts on Twitter tweets. I have a bunch of tweets. I'm not a Twitter fan and I don't use Twitter, but I go on there to see some stuff. But I have a bunch of tweets from people that said, I was a Democrat until yesterday, and I've decided that I'm now a Republican because I see it. I'm witnessing the lies that I've been told, and I'm so sorry that I believe what I've been told. And I'm turning red, and I have probably 4 or 5 of those. I'm going to put them up after the show. I'll go ahead and put them up on a Facebook post. I took screenshots of these tweets of the numbers of people, and I've said this before. I've gotten private messages from former Democrats who said, "Hey, listen, not because necessarily what you said caused me to change my mind, but based on other things and what you were saying, I want to let you know that you've had an impact on me, and I was a Democrat. What I'm doing." I'm definitely voting for Trump in November. And so if you see my post about California, that he could win California, I feel strongly right now that if things continue the way they are, that he will take California. I feel so strongly about it. And I know I had a bunch of people saying, good luck with that. And I'm telling you, based on what I'm seeing, based on what I'm getting on private messages, based on that we just had a congressman elected in a very red area of our state and won, right? Or very red, very blue area of our state. And one is a sign, a very positive sign that I'm right, that he will win. And so back to Ma's comment that I don't think that that's far-fetched at all. And I don't think that that's a conspiracy theory. I can't wait to talk about more of this tomorrow. They are taking... Not sure what that is. I think they are taking, oh, there we go. An animal does from a veterinarian script. I think they are taking an animal dose from a veterinarian script. Bat phones. Yes, I said bat phones. It kind of had to do with the COVID, where COVID-19 came from, with the COVID, right? With the bats the China virus, the Wuhan virus was from a bat. So anyway, all right. So tomorrow, 11 o'clock. Oh man, I lost a couple people. Where did I lose them? What did I say that I lost a couple people that are watching? I went on too long, probably. And I probably cussed too much and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to have a shot to tomorrow's show, 11 o'clock. And this is Jameson whiskey. And I have a little shot tonight, and I'll go back to reading some of my notes. I've taken like 5 pages of notes. I watched a couple of videos today, and there are some really interesting things. And again, I told you the other day. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday on yesterday's show for the hour-and-a-half show that I did yesterday, that I either fortunately or unfortunately have had a career of working on cases involving the federal government and the shenanigans that go on that you would never believe. I could go on. The problem with me talking about it is that I still get called as a, hopefully in the near future, I haven't in a while, but I'm praying that someday I'll go back to being on the stand. I've been on the stand probably 75 times on federal cases and state cases involving criminal cases that involve DEA, CIA, ATF, Border Patrol, and who else is out there? FBI. Right, I've been on case where when I get the documents, and here's a case right here. Right, here's a case right here, that I've reviewed. I've just brought this up the other day that I looked through, and it has redactions, it has all kinds of stuff, and then the things they get up and say on the stand is totally ridiculous. Right? These people that you would consider as a person who watched, a TV show or a documentary on the FBI or DEA or CIA. That your thought process, when I was a kid, was that these must be the best of the best law enforcement officers in the entire world. They must be the best. They must be the smartest. They must be the most intelligent. They never cut corners. They never lie. They always tell the truth, right? No, I've been, listen. And so back to Ma's comment, like this could be, I'm telling you, it is not far-fetched at all because I've seen it. I've seen it in action. I've heard it. I've seen him testify on the stand. And I like a dog, right? You ever have a dog that looks at you like this and tilts his head and Kind of looks like you're confused. And I've been in the courtroom going, what did he just say? Literally had a federal agent. See if I can say this. I think I can. I won't get into too much detail. But a federal agent testify on the stand that something that he was asked, okay, how it was about how a dog did something. So it was how a dog was able to do what it did and discover this thing. They found this expert, their expert, right? The guy that was going against me, their expert was sitting on the stand, this leading expert who's been in the business for something like 30 or 40 years, something like that, in the same business that I've been in, doing the same thing that I've been doing. On the stand, he says, well, we don't know how a dog does that. We believe it's magic. I go, wait a minute. And I'm in a federal courtroom that has the judge is really high up on this thing, right? And he's like sitting here like this, like he's like God, right? Because he can't be fired. There's nothing. You got red wood and shiny wood. You got marble and granite. You got, U.S. attorney, right? A deputy U.S. attorney, right? Sitting there. This, again, your belief is that these are the best of the best. And the U.S. attorney goes, all right. Well, thank you. Answer. And the attorney that I'm working for goes, excuse me, did you just say that you don't know how a dog does it, that it's just magic? That's your answer. That this dog, you have no idea how the dog does. You know how a dog, you train the dog, that your answer is that it's just magic and you don't understand. And he said, yes, we believe that it's just magic. And I just about fell out. I got up there. I said, it's not magic. We know exactly how dogs do this. Dogs have an olfactory system it's simply amazing. Their nostrils are stereo. They smell separately. They have a portion of their brain that's dedicated solely to dividing the odors that come through the olfactory system and identifying each one of those odors separately, not as one, but separately. We know this through science. We also know that the dog smells odor not only coming in, but also going out. The slits on the side of a dog's nose allows the odor to come out as other air is going in and allows the dog to process. The dog also has a gland that separates the ability to smell what the dog is interested in regard to reproduction, as opposed to the scents that come in regard to things that it may be interested in. And it's a very complex system. It's not magic. It is very complex, but we understand it. That the dog's nose is about 1 million to 1 billion times stronger than our olfactory system. That the dog is built for identifying odor and separating those odors, so that it's a far more superior way of locating a specific odor you've trained the dog to find. When the dog identifies that odor, the dog is then trained to sit, because what we've done is we've married the toy, the dog's desire for the toy, for that odor. And when that hits, it is an automatic response that causes the dog to sit. And through training, not through magic, we've trained the dog to do that. Now, does the dog only use the sense of smell, the olfactory system, to do that? No. He also uses his ears. If he's searching for a human being or something that makes noise, he will use his ears in conjunction with his nose, that for whatever reason are able to work separately, unlike us. Unlike us, our senses, it's hard for us to smell and listen at the same time, right? Have you ever driven in a car when you're trying to find a street? And I'm just going to use another sense of eyesight, right? The other sense of seeing something, right? And then concentrating on something. That have you ever been looking for a street that you can't find, and you have your stereo, your radio going on, and when you're trying to find it and you think you're getting close, what do? You end up turning down the stereo. Why? Because it's really hard for us to listen to something and to have that going on while we're trying to see something. We have difficulty as human beings to doing two things at the same time with multiple sense. We have to kind of shut down one sense in order for the one sense that we primarily want to use to actually work in an effective manner. But a dog does not have to do that. So it is not magic. And yet the judge fines for the opposing team. All right. That's how absurd and how, wow, we just saw it. So, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go on a whole thing there, but this is what I deal with. So these things that we're dealing with in regard to a judge is doing something completely screwed up. I almost said a bad word, screwed up in the Flynn case, because they feel that they are more important than God. They feel they are more important than the Constitution. They feel they are more important than an opposing party. If they happen to be a Republican, they sometimes can feel they're more important than a Democrat. If they're a Democrat, they can feel that they're more important than the desires of a Republican. That's just the way that it works. And I've seen it, and I've been a witness to it, and I've been in the middle of it. And I'm telling you that is not that far-fetched. All right. Hydroxychloroquine, that's what it is. I just saw that. People self-prescribe by taking a vet. I got it. Thank you, April, for explaining that. It's hard when I'm on fire. It's hard for me to see. It's hard for me to comprehend because I'm doing too many things. It does work when prescribed correctly. They have shut down entire pharmaceutical manufacturing plants just to produce this drug, hydroxychloroquine. Side note, speaking of court, I need to hire my own stenographer for the Andy Falco show. I am a horrible typer. Awesome. And yes, come on, people, please, really. The world is up in an uproar. And again, they say, well, I can't believe Trump said that. Well, he was asked the question, right? Have you not learned by now that if you're going to ask President Trump a question, he's probably going to answer it? There, on occasion, he'll say, I probably shouldn't say something. But when he says that he probably shouldn't say something, that it's in you can read through the line, between the lines, that it's going to be the thing that you don't want to hear. Probably, right? They said, do you think Obama had any part of bringing down Flynn and all this kind of stuff? And he goes, well, I probably shouldn't say anything about it. But that he's thinking yes. Because later on he says he's the worst president that we've ever had. All right. So hydroxychloroquine is, again, that is so stupid that these people get all in an uproar. Well, people are going to take it and people are going to die. He said to inject dog urine. They're going to inject dog urine and they're going to die. No, listen, people, stop. All right. I had somebody from Twitch. What did we say? I thought it said Flaco Jimenez. Well, that is that it could. I'm not that. I know I'm not that skinny, so I'm probably not a Flaco Jimenez. But I'm sorry about that. Didn't mean to fool you. All right. So, sorry. So that's it for this particular episode. I just want to come on and let you know about the show tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Wherever you're at, you'll see it at your time. If you go to the post, it's a pre-scheduled post. It'll show you, if you're on the East Coast, it'll say 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. If you're Mountain Time, it'll say 1 p.m., right? So whatever it is. But I'm telling you right now that it's 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join me if you want to. You can just join, but make sure and comment and show me what your thoughts are and what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. And I would love to have a couple people join me on a panel to talk about why you think we are still in the shutdown when every indicator is that after the 14 days, it should have been lifted. After the 14 days, not today, not 3 months, not in the future. When we have a cure, because that's the next step, right? It was about testing, but now it's about, well, we're not going to open up the city, the state, the country until there's a cure. Some people think, which is entirely ridiculous. So this is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard. Everything about this thing at this point is stupid. We need to get back out there and get going. On Wednesday, I have a show with the Funk Bros, and don't miss that. So we'll be talking to the Funk Bros on Wednesday. All right, Mark, what do you have to say? He is the worst president we have ever had in our lifetime. And yes, Oyopol, I hate to say, what do the Oyopol say are that stupid that they follow him just like you, Andy, like a bunch of lemmings. Absolutely. I am a lemming. I believe in God. I believe in my rights. I believe in the Constitution. And but you're right. Then I want a hat that says I am a lemming for Donald Trump. You could not have said it better. I appreciate that so much. I had another guy the other day, and he just messaged me because he had simply said some of the same stupid stuff that Mark just said. That what was it? I think it had to do with he said to inject bleach, and I just kind of laughed at him and said, all right, show me where he said that. And then April came on too and said, you're a moron. And I just got a private message that said, hey, I just want you to know that I still like you. And I said, oh, that's good, because I don't get offended at all. I love responses like that, because it just makes me more excited about the future, that we have people that unfortunately have are in that place of just saying stupid stuff. And so we will continue. To you, to President, to me being a lemming, and to being a follower of the Constitution, wanting my rights, the Second Amendment, the believing in God, and all the things that the left hate. I love that they hate it. I love that they want to close the country. I love that Los Angeles is not going to open up. Please put a fence around Los Angeles and New York and Chicago, please. And do not open them forever. Please just keep them shut down, because that will be the best thing that will allow us to the state of California to be one in November. All right. So please keep them shut down. I'm all for it. Shut down those areas. I live in Orange County, so I'm okay. Shut down Los Angeles, New York, and New Jersey too was another one, right? That's another lunatic. And Lightfoot. Watch a couple of videos of Lightfoot. It'll make your day if you are a lemming. If you're a lemming, Lightfoot makes your day. All right, to you guys, a toast. And we'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. It's going to be fun. And hopefully some of the people like Mark will join us, because that's what makes things interesting. All right, take care. Talk to you later. Bye.